I remember Popeye from the cartoons, the comic strips, and also the movie in 1980 with Robin Williams. But what I didn't know is that Popeye was actually based on a real-life person. Let's talk about the beginnings of one of the most beloved characters in comic and cartoon history, Popeye the Sailor Man.
Fantasy, sci-fi, nostalgia, rerun zone.
I grew up in the 1960s, and that's when I first saw Popeye on television. I loved watching cartoons about this rough, tough-talking sailor. He changed from a regular sailor into a guy with super strength just by eating a can of spinach. I didn't much like spinach myself, but I admit I did ask my mom to make some for me after watching Popeye cartoons, and I wasn't the only one. The popularity of Popeye increased spinach sales at the time by as much as 33%. Wow. By the way, watching the cartoons didn't make me want to go out and punch somebody either. So I was surprised to learn that this iconic character that I grew up watching was actually inspired by a real-life person. Say what? That's right, there was a real-life Popeye. His name wasn't Popeye though, and he wasn't a lifelong sailor, but he was the inspiration for the iconic character. Popeye the Sailor was introduced in the comic strip Thimble Theater on January 17, 1929. He was created by cartoonist Elzie Chrysler Segar, but he was actually inspired by this real guy from Segar's hometown of Chester, Illinois. So who was he, and why was Segar so fascinated with him? Well, his name was Frank Fiegel. He was the man behind the myth. Frank Fiegel, also known as Rocky, was born on January 27, 1868 in Poland. His family immigrated to the United States and settled in Chester, Illinois. Rocky was well known in town, famous for his strong physique, his love of a corncob pipe, and his readiness to engage in a fistfight. These traits later became signature elements of Popeye's character. There's a lot of folklore around Fiegel, and some stories have been exaggerated over the years. There are different opinions as to Fiegel actually being a sailor, with some saying he was in the Merchant Marines for many years, and some saying he never went to sea and had a tough time holding down a job. But what we do know is that Fiegel's tough behavior and distinct appearance left a lasting impression on a young Elzie Segar, who also grew up in Chester, Illinois, and heard tales of Rocky's exploits. Legend says that Rocky loved the children in town, and he'd hand out candy and sweets whenever they were around. Elzie Segar, in the legend, was one of the kids who got those treats from Fiegel, and it created a lasting memory in the boy. So when Segar created Popeye, he used Fiegel as his inspiration. Fiegel resembled Popeye with his jutting jaw, a deformed eye from fighting, and his love of smoking a pipe. Segar came up with the spinach eating part. It's not really known if Fiegel liked spinach or not. Rocky Fiegel worked several jobs in Chester, Illinois, mostly as a bartender and a general laborer. He was known for sitting outside the local saloon, pipe in mouth, and engaging with the community. It's said that the kids in town would playfully try to startle him so they could watch Rocky jump up ready for action. This playful yet tough nature is part of what makes Popeye so appealing. Chester, Illinois still honors its connection to Popeye with a statue and an annual Popeye picnic. The town embraces its claim to fame and celebrates the cartoon character who put it on the map. It's a great tribute to both Segar and Fiegel. Even more interesting is that Fiegel wasn't aware that he was the inspiration for Popeye until later in his life, after Segar had already died from leukemia in 1938. Frank Rocky Fiegel passed away on March 24, 1947. His gravestone bears an engraving of Popeye and an inscription that he was the inspiration for Popeye the Sailor Man. A fitting tribute to the man who inspired a cultural icon and a reminder of how real-life stories can shape and inspire the characters that we love. And it all started from a tough, pipe-smoking bartender from Chester, Illinois, Mr. Frank Rocky Fiegel. Frank may never have sailed the 7 seas, but his legacy still lives on. Thank you so much for watching. This is Rich from Rerun Zone, and I'll see you next time.